Yep.
It's 7 o'clock, so we'll be going. Can you hear me with this mic on? Yeah?
Yes.
Yes, right. Oh, pardon? Move a bit nearer. Nobody can hear it. Is that better? Hey. David Clegg.
You're live.
Are we live?
Yep.
Right, good evening. I'd like to welcome everyone to the December full council meeting of Colne Town Council at Colne Town Hall, which has been live streamed on the Town Council's YouTube channel. Apologies for absence. I've got apologies from Councillor Neil Butterworth, Councillor Jonathan Nixon, Councillor Mark Chung, Councillor Brian Wildman, Councillor Sarah Coburn-Price. Are we happy to accept those apologies? Yes? Thank you. Item 3 is declaration of interest. Has anyone any interest on any item agenda this evening? No? Thank you. So there's no declaration of interest. To approve the minutes of the last meeting held on Tuesday the 16th of November. Any comments, issues? David?
Got one question. I think there's something that's in item 11 on the Rhythm and Blues Festival. Are we going to talk about it later and just an update on it, or?
It's not on the agenda, but we can.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah.
So
We can add it to the January one.
we can add it to the January one.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine.
Is that okay? And with the what's it called? Omicron variant, we might know a bit more about what's going to happen in the future. Public forum, we've had no public forum. We've had no.
You didn't get a proposal in a few minutes.
All right, yeah.
Sorry.
Can someone propose the minutes of a correct? Howard proposed them and David Trant second them. Thank you. Public forum, we've had nobody saying they wanted to speak, so we've no public present. Item 6 is the exclusion of the public. To determine during which items, if any, the public are to be excluded from the meeting. Such an exclusion would need to be on the grounds that, in the view of the nature of the business to be transacted, if the public were present, there would be a disclosure to them of exempt information within the meeting as Schedule 12A of the Local Government Act 1972, and I therefore propose that item 13 falls within that act, and therefore the public will be excluded for item 13. That's what I propose. Is anybody objecting to that? No? Can I have a seconder? Thank you, David. Well, thank you. The next item is finances. Item 8 is to receive a schedule of payments from the 10th of November 2021 to the 14th of December 2021 for approval by this council so that I can sign them. Has anybody any questions on either? I think it's item 7A. Yes, Councillor Thomas.
Can I apologise first of all for not asking the officers this earlier on, but I forgot. On the longer schedule, about a quarter of a way down, there are 2 for jet cam cleansing, which are both exactly the same, and then there's one a little bit underneath, Lancashire County Council, 5,500 nearly for playgrounds, which seems a lot. Just why it's them.
Yeah,
Yes, Naomi.
If I may check. So the 2 jet cams we got the drains jetted once we had them done, and we had a blockage on one of them that took further work. So one of them was for the initial work and one was for the extra work. It just happens they've charged us the same figure. They were here about the same length of time as well for both jobs. The Lancashire County Council playgrounds, was the installation of the additional power source for the mugger lighting at the waterside. They finally got round to invoicing us, so that's what those are.
I guess that's what it was, but it's taken so long to get through that I was making sure they'd added a bit more in when we weren't looking.
Looking. Are you content with that, Howard? Yeah. Yes, David.
Just a couple of questions. Near the end of the long list, we've got the payment to Tax Assist for their services. I just wondered, do they bill us monthly, or is that a quarterly thing, or what? That's a monthly bill, right? Very good. And the other one, of course, we had all the fun and games with the Christmas market and the weather and all that kind of thing. So I know we paid the refunds back, etc. Any lessons learned for future bad weather moments? Anything else we can do?
I mean, to be honest, it's something that has to be called on the day. The weather can change so quickly. It's on the day, and whether it's going to be safe to continue or not.
Are you content with that, David? Yeah.
If you feel, Councillor Corbyn Price, that there were any lessons to be learnt yourself,
Well, actually, I was there I was there as an actual exhibitor because Lidget and Beyond had a stall there. The only thing I could suggest perhaps is that obviously the bad weather, yes, bad weather on the day, but the forecast was pretty bad leading up to it, wasn't it? So I suppose you've got the idea there. If there was an option to go inside somewhere, be it, Ernie's or the market or the town hall or whatever, because when we had our stall, we had it all set up, wind everywhere, slush everywhere and all that sort of thing, tied all the stuff up to the sides, etc. And then suddenly Eugene popped his head around the corner as everybody else, all the stalls were disappearing, and said to me, you need to go. I said, well, could anybody have told me earlier? That was one thing. And then I said, well, okay. I said, well, what are we doing? He said, well, you can relocate to the town hall. We're using the ground floor of the town hall as a place to go. And I thought to myself, well, I'm here, there's one other bloke here, and there's no way we can go and get back to the car, drive down there with road closures, and therefore carry all our stuff there. So we just thought, sod it, let's go home. So that's what we did. I later heard that nothing materialised at the town hall. Right. You see, I wasn't told that. So had I gone down there, I would have been mighty cheesed off. So it's just one of those things that with the British weather, especially in Cone in Christmas time, then the option might be to almost have a contingency, that's all. So the only lesson I could say to learn is have a contingency and almost say, plan A is to do this. Everyone's fond of plan A's and plan B's and plan C's, etc. But plan A is to have the market. If the weather's bad, plan B is wherever else. So that's my suggestion.
Naomi, would you like to?
In regards to that, we do review the weather forecast for events every day for 2 weeks prior to the event. However, as we all are fully aware, the British weather forecast isn't very accurate. The option to use the town hall was a last minute suggestion to try and keep as many traders as there. However, when you were offered the place there, we didn't know that others had turned around, was deciding they didn't want to do it either, which was why you hadn't been told that no one else was. And then when we've discovered less wanted to trade there, you'd already gone on it. So it's a difficult situation. Unfortunately, it tends to be that if on the day you have a storm, markets can't take place. We have bought substantial weights, we have bought additional substantial weights, but there are times when it is just not a safe thing to do. And that was the case for Christmas in Cone.
I suppose anyway, David, it's difficult because to get the people who would, where there's so much going on in the library and inside market, it's difficult to say, well, you need to go down and see the stalls. I don't know whether, traders would make very much money. So it is difficult, but you have to decide on the day, haven't you, really? Yeah, but we'll look at that. No. Okay, anybody else? Are we happy to say the finances are right? I need a proposer and a seconder. Proposer Howard Thomas. Anybody seconding David? David pub and price. Thank you.
Just for item A.
That's just for item A. Now, item B, to receive a summary of the budget, spend and commitments as of the 14th of December. That's on, I think that's on 7B. Anybody got any issues on financial budget on 7B? No? Are you okay? Can I have a proposer, please, for those then? So we'll have David and Kevin as seconder. Thank you. Now, item 8 is budget 22-23. To consider a recommendation from the FES committee for the 22-23 budget. So do we want to have a discussion? Anybody have anything to say about this? Got the recommendations there. Well, we would have to find, we haven't got a, yeah?
Yeah, following from the last FES meeting, these are the papers that went to that meeting. Since then, the base rate has actually become known, and it has increased slightly, which is the summary that you were given as you came in. I've done a new one which reflects the figures that will result from that. So just to let you know that's why you got that additional paper.
Right. So the recommendation is that members approve the recommended budget proposed by the FES committee, and that members approve an increase of 5.51%, which is £674,580, which would come in as a preset amount. Does anybody have any concerns, issues, anything want explaining? Yes, David. Clegg.
A comment I would like to make, if you look at Gina's original figures on the 3-year plan, you will realise that the expenses anticipated for 22-23 didn't really call for a preset increase. But the way the figures work out over the next few years, it called for an increase of about 50,000-ish in year 2. There was another increase in year 3. And we'll get, say, for years and years and years, sooner or later, the government office will say you can't put your preset to more than 2%, like Pendle and various other district councils. So if you work it out over the 3-year plan, how much it has to go from now to year 3, it came to about 11.71% over the 3 years. And I thought myself, if we get stuck with 2% on year 2 and 2% on year 3, if we don't put something on this year, we're not going to hit the figure that we're going to need in 3 years' time. So I suggested putting 7.3 on in year 1, 2% on the other 2 years to get the 11.7%. Fortunately, this year, and we're one of the few parishes in Pendle that this has happened to, our preset, the base rate, has gone up. So that's worked to our advantage. And to get the 7.31 that we need for this year increase, we only actually need to put 5.51% on because of the extra we get from the base rate. But that is why we're at that figure. If I've confused anyone, if you just ask, I'll try and explain it in a different way.
And it's also sort of inflation, isn't it? It's gone up by 5%. So it's not really. We're just trying to keep up to what's it's going to cost us.
It's not unrealistic. It's actually very similar to the rate of inflation.
Yeah. So are you okay to propose that, someone? If you don't want to speak anymore. Right. Proposed,
I'll happily move it if someone wants to say it.
you want to speak?
Just briefly, Chair, one of the problems we've got here is the number of low banded houses. And just as an example of that, walking back up the main street on Saturday, I must say, emboldened by a glass of mulled wine handed out by the bid at Shackleton Hall. They actually knew where Shackleton Hall was, surprisingly. Looking in an estate agent's window, there were just 12 properties being advertised. Out of that 12, 9 were banded A, 2 were banded B, and 1 was banded D. So that shows the problem that boroughs like Pendle and towns like Colne have, that one, however much we tend to want to raise it more, because for every pound or percentage we put it up, it doesn't generate the same as in many other places. And sooner or later, the train is going to hit the buffers and something will have to be done with it, because the whole edifice of local government finance will just collapse. As it is, it's a sort of mishmash, and everybody always says things like, oh, look at Westminster Council, haven't they done wonders? They've knocked their precept down. Well, of course they can, because, you know, millions of pounds a house, they're all in Band H, and maybe they go beyond it. But sooner or later, local government finance has got to be radicalised and sorted out so that it is more equitable from the north of Scotland. Maybe they'll be independent by then, but certainly from the border down to the English Channel, because if it carries on like this, it's just doomed, to quote a famous Scotsman.
Right. Well, I've got a proposal, David Clegg. Are you seconding that, Councillor Thomas? Thank you. All those in favour? Thank you, that's unanimous. Thank you very much. The next item is planning. Got 3 planning applications. First one is 21/0900/HHO. It's Mr. Aslam at 4 Milton Road, Colne. Erection of a single-storey rear extension. Has anybody looked at these plans? Yes, David?
I think it's one of those ones, the extension itself looks fairly innocuous. It is an extension on an extension, and oddly, if you do a flyover, you actually see it's the only house in that entire row of houses that even has 1 extension, never mind 2. So it's an unusual one. And have you seen the letter? Has anyone seen the letter written by the neighbours? Okay, well, they wrote a letter, and obviously it's in the public domain anyway, because it's on the Pendle website. But it basically says, we strongly object to the said extension works. I'll just skim through bits. We didn't object to the previous application in 2019, and we allowed access through our garden as and when requested for scaffolding to be erected, etc. Very little care was taken or consideration shown by the contractors. Damage was caused to our property. Digging out of the footings and foundations caused a great degree of subsidence at the boundary. Fencing collapsed. Fencing poorly replaced. Water pipe was damaged. Rubble and rubbish, disruption through the whole process. Objects left overhanging from the scaffolding. Used our lawn to wipe their boots. And the dogs were restricted as well. We strongly object. Should this application be granted, then there will be no access given to put scaffolding up or anything else via our property. So, and then it concludes actually, we have no issue with our neighbours, we get on quite well. We just cannot go through all the disruption again. We did not expect this at all.
Councillor Thomas.
The party's probably cancelled anyway. Unfortunately, everything that's just been read out is not a planning matter. It's purely civil matter between neighbours. If the only way to gain access is across the neighbour's garden and they refuse it, well, that's the end of it. We can't say we object. I suppose what we can put a note in is that there were problems during, there were alleged, hard to talk with this thing. There were alleged difficulties when the first extension was put up. So, you know, can a note be put on to be a more considerate building? There's a considerate building scheme, isn't there, that they put on quite a lot of things. Whether it applies to house extensions, I don't know, but that's about the level of what we can do. It's not really large and overbearing and the normal things that we would object on.
What are you proposing?
So I'll say that we put a note on that we would ask that during any construction work, consideration is shown to the neighbours.
And possibly have a proper construction method statement or of some kind, or sort of design and access statement, because clearly you've got to go through the little tunnel to get to the back of the house, and obviously they share that, I guess. So.
Oh yes, I know what you mean. Yes.
It's one of those.
Yeah. Is that?
I suspect that in the deeds and everything, they've got right of access and all the rest of it. So it's not a plan. It isn't a direct planning issue, unfortunately.
So are we okay to put that about the being more considerate because of? Yeah.
So, Colne Town Council comment, no objection, but noting the letter from the neighbour that a considerate building plan, is that what you called it, councillor? Considerate construction method statement be provided in advance.
Yeah. Okay. Plan application number 2 is number 21/0859/FUL from Barnfield Construction, and it's 64 Harrison Drive, Colne, and it's the erection of a substation to rear. It's on the new build, isn't it, at the back of Harrison Drive? No comment?
No, Chair, it's slightly misnomered in that 64 at the end of it won't exist, so it's not actually in somebody's back garden. It's just it will be a freestanding substation.
No comment. Okay. Item 3 is 20/0493/FUL. It's appealing the decision of refusal of the planning application. It's land at the north of Oakfield, Skipton Old Road, Colne, and it's erection of two 3-bed dwellings and associated garages, parking and gardens. Yeah. Can you put your microphone on, please, Councillor Clegg?
Because it's a decision that's already been made, and because it's going to appeal, I don't think we should actually speak on it or make any comment, because I don't think we should put ourselves in a position where we muddy the waters for the appeal. And I think we ought to not say anything.
Can we not say?
It's not an application at all. It is just notice that they have appealed. It's not an application. The application was months and months and months ago.
So we don't even say previous.
I was going to say, what sort of comment did we make last time? Because we could just say no further comment. Because it's all about providing new evidence, isn't it, for this one? And it was obviously the impact on conservation area, the design of the things in the first place. I think the letter itself actually said it was refused on sort of highway safety and access and things like that. So,
I think Lancashire County Council
there's nothing
said
changed.
it was not good, and because it was going through that black, track, wasn't it?
We just let it run its course and no further comment.
Yeah. Item 10 is items for the future month's agenda. We've got one already. Blues, yeah. Update, yeah. Any other? Hey, no? Okay, item 11 is the Colne neighbourhood plan. You've got two actual ones, so we've got to decide, decisions required on both of them. The first one is the marketing document, which is like the Come to Colne things. Has anybody any comments, issues? Do we need, have we got an update?
I haven't any comments on these two at all, because I think basically they're all right to go out to consultation or whatever the next stage is. What I am not sure about is there are, when I say several documents, there are quite a few documents to do altogether, of which these are two of them. A third one has been sent, which members were looking at various pictures and maps, etc., only last week. What I'm trying to get in my mind is they're coming through slowly to us, which is fine. We don't have the job of trying to sort them all out at once. So that's great. Are they going to go out for consultation altogether, or are they going to be trickled out slowly for consultation?
What will happen is they're obviously being finalised. So there's different people involved. Some of us involved.
Can you put your microphone on?
So we're working through them steadily. There are outside people doing some stuff. We're doing some stuff on finalising them. So it's a case of, as David said, to trickle them out to say, any comments now, let's tweak it, fresh pair of eyes, etc. The aim would be around about February time. We've got the main document. We've got all these supporting documents backing it up. I believe there'll be about sort of 15 or 16, I think it is. 16, is it, in total? So there'll be 16 of them in total. And yes, once the council then says, well, we've been through them all, we've finalised the ones on the top, and then we approve it to go to its next stage. And that's when all of them get put on the website, get given to Pendle Council, and then the thing progresses then. So yeah, it's all together in one go.
Now, are you clear on that?
Yeah, I'm clear on that now,
Yeah. So, is there any issues around the marketing document that anybody's got any questions about? No? Can I have a proposer then to take these forward? Liz? And the seconder, can I have a seconder?
I'll second it.
Seconder. Right. Thank you. Are we all in favour of that one? Yeah. Okay. Then the next one is Colne Neighbourhood Plan, the landscape assessment document. Again, are we all happy with this? Is there any questions on this one? No? Right. Can I have a proposer for this one to go forward, please? Emma? And can I have a seconder? Once again. Thank you. Can we, are we all in favour? Yeah? Thank you. Thank you. That's passed then. And we'll wait with bated breath for the next lots.
Yes, if you have a quiet Christmas, New Year, and you want to settle down in front of a coal fire or whatever.
Right. Date and time of next meeting is scheduled for Tuesday the 18th of January, so if you make a note